Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 620 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I am your host, Christian Piles, joined, as always, by Ben Funky Askren, coming at us from the Lattice backyard in Southern California, flexing with the birds. Stephen Kyle Bracky's here with his Greenlee shirt, and Oliver Stone holding it down in the back. And this is one of the most anticipated shows for me of the whole year. So much happened, and like all the storylines kind of got pushed to conference weekend because we never really got to see all the big teams hit. We never got to see a lot of really competitive matches. So it all happened this weekend. Big 12s was awesome. We had that going. Thanks to all of you that tuned in for the watch party. We had a lot of fun doing that. We're a little delirious. It's kind of funny being back here again after spending basically 2 straight days in here. But it was great because we watched basically every relevant match
every day
over the weekend while Ben was coaching Wisconsin.
How many screens you guys have going?
We had 2 TVs that all could support like 4 mats on them.
Ooh, that is quite the setup, boys.
Yeah, it was good. Tremendous. Shout out to Tyler for setting it up.
Nice.
We're doing it again for NCAAs, but it's gonna be even, well, I'll say better because we're gonna have like a overall kind of setup, like a stream. Then we're gonna have like an Iowa stream and a Penn State stream. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. We're really looking forward to it.
So like you put 2 of Flo employees in Penn State gear and they talk very biased Penn State talk.
Yes.
And then 2 in Iowa gear. Is that what you're for real? That would be hilarious.
We're not going that far, but. You know what? Maybe we'll do it. We're like Andy Hamilton's going to be on the in the Iowa one because he's an obvious guy to talk about Hawkeye wrestling. But enough about our plans. Let's talk about what happened because so much happened.
Where do you want to start?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's like, well, I kind of want to start with Big Tens just because it was Big Tens, but like Big 12 was chock full of storylines, more than I thought we would get. But I want to say at the top, it feels like the team race is definitely not in contention.
I've been trying to tell you guys this for months. I don't know why you haven't listened.
Well, because Ben, we didn't really ever get to see their full lineup. We never got to see
That's kind of obvious.
Well, hold on. Now back up. You were just as high, if not higher, on Kirkfleet than anyone. And if Kirkfleet was what you thought he was going to be, then they would have
it doesn't affect anything.
How do you figure?
Because I was not high on Joe Lee or Michael Beard or Robbie Howard or Bo Bartlett or who else? I don't know.
Nick
other
Lee.
people's.
Nick Lee.
No, I was high on Nick Lee.
You didn't like him.
Brady Birdie. Brady Birdie was the last one I was looking for.
Well, okay, fine. But if they had 5 legit title contenders, then that puts them in any conversation.
Well, the problem is Iowa has better title contenders because they're going to score more points, right? Spencer Lee's going to outscore anyone on the Penn State team by relatively wide margin. Jaden Ironman is looking like he's going to be probably the 2nd or 3rd biggest point scorer at the NCAA championships.
Yeah.
DeSanto actually didn't look that great. But yeah, then you could go into Kemmer. Kemmer's going to score a ton of points. Marinelli's the favorite, right? So the problem is Iowa has that, and then Iowa's next tier is just a lot better than Penn State's next tier.
Yeah, no question. You're right. This could be a really obnoxious show. This could be a really obnoxious show for Ben.
It felt so good.
Ben is probably the only person outside of the Lincoln, Nebraska, or Idaho area that called Ridge Lovett to the Big Ten Finals.
Oh, baby.
And he looked, not only did Ridge Lovett, I guess we're starting with Ridge Lovett. Why not?
Ridge Lovett's good, man. He's really
he
good.
is so good. And he is so good in, well, actually, he's good in a lot of places. He's still, I think the thing that's going to prevent him from winning a national title, if there's one thing, is he can't get the legs. He's not, doesn't have a
go-to offense.
No go-to offense. But man, is he good on top. And man, is he great upper body. And can he scramble? So he is not far away from putting the pieces together to be a real contender. And at 149, man, if you're beating Max Buren and you're, I don't want to say pushing Sammy Sasso, what he was competitive. He was definitely competitive.
I thought it was like his run was gonna kind of end at that point. And Sammy was gonna tune him up, and it was a close match for him.
He looked good.
What's the highest Max Buren was ranked this year? 4?
Was he ranked second at any point?
No.
Got ranked second?
No. Austin O'Connor's second.
Oh, yeah, AOC.
Yeah, I think he's like 4 maybe, but that's a legit win. I mean, how far does he drop? Because
5's the highest we had Murin.
okay, yeah, that was close. I mean, Iowa didn't have its best performance, but it's still even despite that, it still seems impossible that anyone catches them because Murin, I mean, top 5 guy in the country didn't place at the damn Big Ten tournament.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, they built a kind of team that can have those kind of, you want to call them lapses or whatever, but they don't have to be optimized to win because they're the best team by far. Another thing I think is interesting is the prevailing dynamic in college wrestling was Penn State's bonus points and bonus point scores. And they had this nucleus of guys that were just getting pins after pins, whether it was David Taylor, Ed Ruth in the beginning, then became Zane Nolf Nickel, and, throw in a Quentin Wright and throw in a Mark Hall and a Chenzo even sometimes. And you just had a lot of guys scoring massive points. And now so many of their guys are like, you think about Starocki. He's a fantastic freshman, but he's playing a really controlled game. He's a takedown guy. He's not a major turner. Aaron Brooks even. He's probably, I think Aaron Brooks is the best wrestler on Penn State right now. Amazing on his feet, but he's not a big bonus point scorer. He's not a guy that's going to ride you and turn and put you over against the best guys on a consistent basis. He has pinned Taylor Vins. He has scored big points. But the Penn State bonus point era has not translated to this next group yet, right?
Yes.
We haven't seen that with Nick Lee is probably the best bonus point scorer on Penn State right now, and I don't know if that's true, but he feels like the guy.
He's not a great bonus guy.
No,
it doesn't feel like at least.
No, these guys are tough to take down. They have a game that's really catered almost like to freestyle. You can tell these guys have been trying to make freestyle world teams, and they've honed their craft around being really tough to take down and able to get takedowns. And that's going to put them in a lot of matches, but you don't score 25 points at NCAAs like that.
We should have started with the best match of the weekend, and the best match of the weekend was, you guys better agree with me on this one,
Rivera Nick Lee.
Sebastian, oh my God.
Hey, Ben, it's you're like cutting out so bad. You're frozen.
Dang it. Can you hear me now?
Log out, log back in. Try that. But yeah, so let's talk about Rivera versus Nick Lee.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Nick Lee, Sebastian Rivera was freaking amazing. So awesome.
Yeah, and if you didn't see it, Rivera got a takedown immediately, and then it was kind of a back and forth match. Do your impressions of 141 change at all? Ben looks frozen again. Could be one of those shows. I don't know. What's he doing in Southern California anyways?
He's training.
Yeah, he's boxing.
Are you back?
Why is it so hard to use vMix? I mean, literally the only place I get vMix to work is my house. What is it?
I don't know.
Weird.
But,
well, you are at a botanical garden.
You're outside.
Seems.
Yeah.
You're. I don't know how close you could possibly.
Internet's right there. It's 7 feet away.
All right. Hey, Ben, hop off and work.
I'll go inside and I'll see if that works better. Hold on.
All right, relocating Ben.
Shit.
Okay. So let's talk about Sebastian Rivera versus Nick Lee, fellas. Does your impression of 141 change? We were I think, I don't know who Ben picked, but we were kind of across the board. Seabass picking him.
I think he did too, because remember we all did, and we're like, oh my gosh, we're all on Seabass, so it's definitely not happening.
That definitely did happen.
And it definitely happened that we all picked him, and it definitely happened what we said would happen,
right?
Which is that it didn't happen.
We mushed him.
Oh, is that what it?
It's a term. You mushed him.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a pick, and then everybody's on it, and then you get the bad luck jinx guy. He's on the same one. You got mushed.
Okay, who's our bad luck jinx guy?
I don't know. I think I was the last one picked, so I fear it's me.
Okay.
I fear that it's me.
I fear that it may have been you as well. Looks like Ben's talking. I can't hear him yet, though. So, on the one hand, I feel like Ironman matches up pretty good against both guys, but, you look at that match, the Ironman Nick Lee final. Nick Lee had the takedown advantage, 2 takedowns to 1. It was the riding time and the escapes for Ironman that separated him and enabled him to win that one narrowly. But I feel like going into NCAAs, any of those guys can can win 141. All right, Ben may be back. We'll see. Ben, are you back?
I can't hear anybody.
All right.
Oh, no.
Okay. How about now, bud? All right. Are you there?
I'm here. Sorry
All right,
about that.
You're not allowed to leave Wisconsin anymore.
All right. Hey, I didn't get to hear you guys talk about Seabass and Nick Lee. Those scrambles were so fantastic. I was so impressed with both those guys. It was so much fun. And the referee, he made the right calls. He held. I mean, there was a lot of points there where a lot of other referees would have called 2, and I thought the referee did a great job.
Yeah. Honestly, officiating the whole weekend was pretty good, except they didn't like calling near fall sometimes, and they were really weird about out of bounds. But nothing that really jacked up the any results as far as I could tell. So, as you look at 141 right now, do you view it similarly? Like, man, any one of those 3 guys can win it, no question about it. And is there anyone else in the conversation?
I don't think so. But I do. I mean, it's obviously going to be easiest now for Ironman to win because he's on the one side, and Sebastian and Nick have to go through each other, that's tough, right?
Well,
they got to win really hard.
Here's the thing, Ben. These seeds are going to be crazy, and they're
going to be all jacked up.
There's a scenario like
Wait,
Tariq Wilson.
You're not telling me they're not going to be 1, 2, 3, are you?
That's entirely
I don't think
possible.
that's gonna. They're not going to be 1, 2, 3.
Tariq could be the 2.
What?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because of the Matrix thing they have.
Undefeated conference champ.
Guys, can we go to Indianapolis?
You can go.
We need to go help them.
I want to help them. I want to be involved, but I think so here's the thing. The Matrix.
I saw Nomad put out some seeds on heavyweight, and I was really hoping he's joking, but I wasn't sure whether he was joking or not.
No,
Ben,
why do people think he's joking?
Guys, Nomad knows
Did you see the seeds?
numbers.
Did you see the seeds?
Yes.
I
Hey, Ben, he did the same thing last year. He nailed the seeds last year. He knows how it's not his opinion. He has like the formula. He spits it out, and he's very close to right almost every year. He was like getting the seeds in the exact order last year.
There's a certain point if you're within so many points, they can like have a debate or talk about it. But a lot of the times they're not within that
certain threshold, and then they can make changes. But if the math is like such that there's no wiggle room, then he's stuck.
The heavyweight one he put out was like, oh my God, this is hilarious. This has to be a joke. And then, I didn't really think, my thought was I didn't think it was a joke. But when I read it, I was like, okay, listen, I'm just going to hope this is a joke because this is terrible.
You know that there is, you know what Nomad has it right now?
Oh my God.
1 Ironman, 2 Wilson, 3 Demas, 4 Lee, 5 Rivera, all 3 on the same side.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Come on.
Crazy. We'll see.
Does Demas not have a loss this year at all?
To Parker, who he avenged in the Big 12 finals.
Yeah, that shouldn't get him above those guys. Why can't Nick Lee take a loss to number 1 with a win over number 2 or 3, or we are number 1? That should not. And from a ranker's perspective, that doesn't make any sense. But the seeding, we've seen some of the seeds. Ben, we've seen seeds over the years. I know you love them because they normally favor the Tigers, but there's some terrible, terrible seeds in there frequently.
And this year with limited scheduling, Big Ten didn't get to go outside their conference or were in a lot of tournaments. It could be more jacked up than ever before.
Absolutely.
Because it's a lot smaller body of work.
So, 41, I feel like we learned everything and yet nothing. It's like we learned, all 3 of these guys can go with each other, and whoever just has it that day, it's the ultimate cliche, but that's a real thing. Any one of those guys can win. Couple other things.
I mean, listen, that makes if you tell me Ironman's got to beat, if they're on the same side, then he still only has to beat one of those guys. If one of them ends at a 3 and the other one ends at a 4-5, now he's got to probably beat 2 of those guys. That lowers his chances for me. If I'm making betting odds, that 100% lowers his chances, because if he's got to beat two of those guys, the chances he's going to mess up against one of them is so close. And Nick Lee and Sebastian Rivera, they're both really, really good. There's not like a huge skill level difference whatsoever.
Well, Jaden would only have to beat one of them.
Not if one was a 5 and one was a 3.
Oh, they're 4-5, and
they're 4-5, so they'd hit in the quarter, so he'd only have to beat one.
Yeah, but I mean, no man, those aren't like for sure seeds.
No,
but it is a scenario that's feasible. So, that's 41. It's gonna be crazy. The seeds are gonna be crazy. Brackets come out tomorrow. We're gonna have a live bracket show again for the 3rd year in a row.
6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. Watch us react, and our brains get melted by these insane seeds.
Spontaneous brain bleed. So it'll be me and
You guys
Bracky.
actually were relatively complimentary last year, if I remember. It was 2 years ago when you guys were going really nuts.
Yes.
Correct. Last year was relatively good.
2 years ago, we were not competent to stand trial.
2 years
Last year
ago,
was
they were
fine.
audacious. Last year, they were much better.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's hope for that again. But it's going to be fun regardless. Do you want to talk about 33 a little bit? And I kind of want to sprinkle in a little Big 12 because it's more and more apparent now, and it was kind of apparent previously, but it's going to be Roman and Dayton for the title. And it seems, everyone's going to favor Dayton. I kind of always thought Roman's got a really good shot and matches up well against Dayton Fix. Now, seeing Dayton, he won, no problem at Big 12s, but, the decision against Madrigal, I feel like it's going to be a one takedown match, and it's as hard as Dayton is to take down. It's hard to see a scenario where he doesn't. It seems like you can almost fast forward to tiebreakers there. Dayton will get the ride out and win, kind of thing. That's kind of how I view it.
You're going that far. Man, I don't feel that strongly. I definitely see what you're talking about where, Dayton didn't look great against Madrigal, and he's not super dynamic offensively, and Roman's really, really solid defensively. But the notion that neither one of them is going to get a takedown for 7 minutes, I don't really feel that. Well, 8 minutes if you're including overtime. I don't really feel strongly about that. I think someone's going to score a couple points, and I would definitely lean towards Dayton.
Yeah, and maybe. I just think Roman is not going to engage in the tie-ups very much. It could be one thing I think could be a factor is Dayton's pressure, is how he takes ground. He could end up with some stall points there.
Absolutely.
Just from taking ground, getting Roman to the edge. But Roman, no issues with DeSanto. At 33, the story for me out of everything was Lucas Bird, how good he looked. He really pushed DeSanto. He got the takedown. He couldn't hold off DeSanto. Then he beat Chris Cannon really soundly. I think Lucas Bird's a definite guy to watch headed in NCAAs. And coming into this year, I wasn't particularly high on him, but he's good.
Him versus DeSanto was highly competitive. I mean, he did a good job there. He didn't quite have the gas to go get him in the third period, but he was right there with him. Do you guys? So I guess now I'm asking you guys what the seeds are going to be, because I feel like someone like Corbin Myers or Mickey Phillip you could figure in here pretty well.
Well, yeah, let's see what.
I don't know if he posted 33 on Twitter, but I don't know. Ooh.
Corbin could reasonably be like the 3. I think it's Dayton, Roman.
So, okay, Dayton, RBY, Corbin, Mickey, DeSanto, Schmidt, Bird, Hayes, Trombley, Cannon.
Schmidt. Dang.
Schmidt's that high?
It's got, I think, just one loss on the year.
2 losses. No? 1 loss?
I think it's 1. Let me check.
Wow. Damn, I didn't realize how good the ACC was there. They got Myers, Philippi, Hayes, Trombley, 4 through 7. That's freaking impressive.
Schmidt lost his first match of the year, Zach Price, who's a top 15 guy, and then his 1 out.
Wow. Jeez.
That still feels high. Because what's his best win?
Probably now Zach Redding, who's jumped into the top.
Get out of here with
so.
that. Get out of here with that seed. I mean, that's beat somebody. If you're not gonna beat anybody, you can't lose to Zach Price. Those are my rules.
Yeah. Listen, honestly, that's a Mizzou Tiger. That's a fair rule, Christian. I got no issue with that. I don't mean to be totally ADHD, but we mentioned OU and OU. Holy crap! Who saw that one coming? I did not see that one coming. If you guys told me Oklahoma State tied for the team title and then said, "Hey, Ben, this happened," give odds. I probably would have given higher odds to Iowa State or Wyoming. And I feel like OU came out of nowhere. Like I don't think any of us were talking about that possibility last week. Not even close.
Well, the Mantanona brothers getting pins and pins and pins was massive.
Also, Marcus
Oklahoma.
Coleman pinned like 4 guys in a row on the backside.
Yeah. So there were some bonus points.
ISU.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know why. Sorry. I don't know why I was thinking. I guess I was thinking pin. I heard pins, and I was just like, oh, yeah, this guy pinned everybody.
You just want to talk about pins. Yeah, I mean, listen.
You got excited.
If you look up and down the Oklahoma State lineup, how many of those guys do you say this dude wrestled up to or exceeded his expectations?
Up to or Dayton, Boo, and Ferrari.
Dayton scoring 0 bonus points at Big 12s lived up to your expectations? 0 bonuses.
I didn't realize.
Wait, Dayton or
I
Boo?
realized he won.
Dayton.
Dayton had no bonus points?
Maybe I'm
That's
wrong.
not
with
true.
That. No, he had. Oh,
He had 2 majors and a tech.
so he did not bonusing.
Christian. Throw a false
Okay,
That's
but
a lot of bonus points, though.
He pinned Magic. I was thinking Boo because Boo had had 3 decisions. So I would say Dayton is right about there, but him not getting a bonus point, which would have ultimately won Big 12s for Oklahoma State, that to me, against a guy he had pinned, right? So you could say maybe he met expectations. You could say maybe Boo met expectations, and AJ either met or slightly exceeded expectations.
I think he exceeded expectations. I mean, with that bracket, winning that bracket was that bracket to me is equivalent to, and I guess we'll see if I'm right or not, is equivalent to the Big Ten bracket at 197. And I could be wrong. We'll see in a couple weeks here, but man, 197 Big 12 was really good.
Yeah. So with Oklahoma State, 3 of your 10 guys wrestling about where they should be, that makes it tough.
Well, I mean, they had a lot of high seeds, so it's tough to go up. But at the same time, they had a number of guys that were way below expectations.
Yes.
Mastro taking 5th. Whitlake, who had just destroyed everybody in 165 in the Big 12, getting beat by Luke Weber. And
that's kind of shocking. Luke Weber is not had a good year, correct?
He actually only has 2 losses on the year, but he had no ranked wins or no wins that would say, this is coming. But, yeah, he has a loss to Pat Schoenfelder, who's UNI's backup at 65.
Jeez.
Yeah. So I didn't think it was a great...
I predicted a G Feller thing. That just wasn't gonna work out. We knew that. Man, heavyweight, we knew they weren't scoring any points there, and then gear, it's like he already lost to Samuelson, so it's not that far out of the realm of possibilities. And you knew Plot was severely injured because he's got both bad shoulders. Sheets
didn't even place. Losing to Hornfeck on the backside is not good. And the other, you mentioned G Feller. Oklahoma State lost a team point in his wrestleback match.
Oh my gosh!
I was just gonna ask about if we knew who lost a team point for the squad.
Well, I'm watching it right now. I'm trying to figure that out.
Oh wow, he's got it pulled up. So we don't know, but they lost a team point. So many little things could have won Oklahoma State the thing outright. I guess you could say the same for Oklahoma as well.
And on the flip side, Oklahoma, Anthony Madrigal still has a losing record, but he goes from unseeded to making the finals and beating 3 straight ranked guys to do it, and then pushes Dayton. Troy Mantanona getting 3 pins, Ant-Man getting a bunch of pins. Moore made the finals. Demas reversed the last 2 results against Ian Parker. Darren Roberts reversed a result against
Mitch Moore.
Making the finals and almost beating Boo. Yeah, I mean, Heinzelman, the heavyweight, beat Carter Isley.
Yeah.
Wow.
They really wrestled well. And the thing about it with the Oklahoma State's performance is not only did they almost lose to Oklahoma, but they were pushed by Iowa State and Wyoming.
Wyoming actually took so after the semifinals, Wyoming was in the lead, and then that's when Oklahoma went on their pin spree because they hadn't wrestled that round of wrestlebacks yet, and then Oklahoma just goes on a pin spree and they surge into the lead, and it was actually 4 teams could have won it going into Sunday. Iowa State was still in the mix, and it looked like credit to Oklahoma because when you looked at their matchups going into Sunday, you didn't like what they had in front of them, and it didn't look like they were going to be able to hold on, and sure enough, they got enough wins and stepped up in the finals with Demas getting that overtime victory to tie Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State had to run them down, actually.
But with Oklahoma, because we've been talking about Lou Roselli and just how he's been struggling there and how we thought he was going to do so well. I feel like there was not even any indicators, like there was not a big dual win or anything this year where we're like, wow, they're starting to get a lot better. Like I feel it was just like, wow, where the hell did this come from?
Yeah, this is a team that lost to you and I pretty handily in Iowa State, and I was literally sitting here questioning where's the fight.
Yes.
Because they just rolled over.
Yeah.
Well, they found the fight this weekend.
They found the fight. Maybe you gave them the fight.
I'll take credit for it. You're welcome.
I'll give you credit
welcome,
for it.
Sooners.
I'll allow it.
I don't know, maybe this is a spark he needs to get things going in the right direction.
Well, NCAAs will be a different test.
Yeah, sure.
And, I feel like Oklahoma State should and will be the highest placing Big 12 team at NCAAs, although we'll see. Oklahoma State is not a trophy contender like I thought they would be this year, but that's not going to be.
I think I got a bet there. I'm going to win with you too. I think we over under 3.5 All-Americans for Oklahoma State, right?
Yeah, we have a bet, but I don't want to.
We have so many bets. You need so many push-ups.
Unlikely. The problem with the bets is we rarely remember the exact details of them, so we just move on.
Damn it.
We
should have someone who watches our show who keeps track of all the bets we make, Christian, and then makes you do so many push-ups.
Okay. I don't mind push-ups. It's okay. I think we should talk about 197 a little bit, just like nationally.
Yeah.
After watching Amin had 2 sudden victory matches before having a pretty, I'll call it sort of dominant win over Eric Schultz in the finals. But he had sudden victory over Beard, sudden victory over Warner, and then beat number 1 Eric Schultz, or the number 1 seed Eric Schultz. Miles was our number 1 all along. How do you view 197 nationally now, Ben?
I think it's relatively wide open. I think there's a lot of guys who could win this weight class. Probably all the way down to like number 8, Noah Adams. If he won, I really wouldn't be all that shocked. He was the number 1 going into the NCAAs last year. Amin went overtime with Beard and then overtime with Warner. And it beats up on Schultz, which I figured it was going to be overtime again. And people part of me and say, "Well, Beard is good now because he went to overtime with Amin." But then he went and lost to Caffey relatively bad, and he lost to someone else on the backside. I'm not remembering.
Davison,
thank you. So I think it's a deep weight class. Guy like Tanner Sloan, who we all thought was really good, he had a terrible Big 12s. So I did wide open. Anything can happen.
Yeah, I don't know if my list would be as large as yours. I think Miles Amin. I think AJ Ferrari. I do think I'm not going to eliminate Eric Schultz. I'm not going to eliminate even Noah Adams at this point. But Noah Adams cannot beat Stephen Buchanan, apparently. He is over 3. There's something. I feel like he should beat him, but he can't beat him. And that's notable. So he's a little more draw dependent.
One of the things I was really impressed with Ferrari in that final was, a lot of times we see him kind of blow through dudes. He was very patient on a couple of those finishes and worked really hard to get him against Stephen Buchanan. Buchanan was doing some really solid defense. So I was impressed by that kind of. And then I was also impressed. I did not think he had the riding ability. I want to say he rode him for 2 minutes in the first period. It was a long time, felt like.
He had like a minute 50, a minute 30 after the first period. Yeah. And man, he was up like 5-0 with riding time in the middle of the second. And it seemed like, he pushed for the major the whole time, but a couple little things prevented him from getting it. But seeing him, I mean, he really pushed hard for the major. It was impressive. And for a true freshman, you might think, hey, let me just win. Let me just get my title and move on and just wrestle controlled. Him pushing for the major for the team, that really impressed me. And it was exciting to see. And he really wasn't all that challenged throughout the tournament. I mean, he beat Sloan.
I couldn't find the Sloan match on the internet anywhere, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it may be one you had to watch it live to do it. We're trying to figure.
Easy, just 2 takedowns, ride time, and an escape. It looks like. That'll only be 6 points.
No, I think he scored more than that.
Yeah, it was 7-1 was the score. But
yeah, he looked good.
Yeah.
Brack, did you find anything?
I mean, is he going to get 2 or 3?
AJ?
Yeah.
Well, it's tough because remember, there's Cordell Norfleet. Is he undefeated? No.
Yeah.
No, he is.
Cordell Norfleet?
Yeah.
Who's he lost to?
He beat Buchanan.
Right.
Man, should he be higher than Warner?
Let's see.
Warner's only lost to Amin.
Yeah, Norfleet's 9-0.
Yeah, so Norfleet's definitely a title contender.
He's going to be seeded really high.
Yeah, he's going to have a really high seed. He could be the 2. Is that possible?
Yeah. Probably.
Who else is undefeated in this bracket? Nobody.
It's going to depend on
Miles, I mean.
Miles, yeah, I'm sorry, Miles.
It's going to depend on what the coaches' rankings do, probably.
What's Nino at?
So Nino's Trumbull loss is going to hurt him, you have to figure.
Yeah.
Even though he won a pretty tough...
Yeah, he's had a really good season because he beat a bunch of top dudes besides that one loss. Yeah, it's going to be really dependent on how it gets seeded, I feel like. I feel like Ferrari is going to be top couple. I mean, probably lowest at 4 is what I feel like.
Yes. Okay, so maybe we get back to Big Tens for a little bit. 197 is going to be fun. It's going to be interesting how they seed it. A few things, with Penn State, looking at 149, the Bartlett situation there, I feel like Bracky feels pretty strongly Bartlett is not going to get in. Is that right?
Yeah, he's not getting in.
So it's...
Well, he only has, he's got 2 backup Maryland wins and then 1 win, and that's it, right?
You're thinking of...
At 149. At 149.
Right, but he doesn't have 2 backup Maryland wins. He's 4-3 at 149.
Bro, he has 2 backup Maryland wins.
They wrestled him a second match that night?
Yes.
Well, he started that duel, so it's not
one of
the
them's
backup.
a starter.
Yeah.
Well, they're kind of backup.
Why is a starter kind of a backup?
Well, okay, and then he wrestled Michigan backup Cole Matton, and then he wrestled 2 Maryland backups, Baxter and Cordillo. And those are 3 of his 4 wins. And the other one, I'm right. You guys are laughing at me. I'm right. Because Michael North is a starter for Maryland, whom he pinned at Big Tens. The other 2 dudes
except
are not
Baxter
good.
started all the duels and then just didn't start at Big Tens. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He's not getting in. He's 4-3. He's 4-3, and he's not getting in, guys. Sorry.
3 of his wins over the Maryland guys.
So yes.
Correct.
So the weird thing with that whole situation is in the preseason when we're looking at Penn State's lineup and what are they going to do at 41-49, it seemed obvious that their best 2 guys were going to be Nick Lee and Bo Bartlett in some order, form or fashion.
Yeah.
And they made the weird thing, and there's something we were talking about throughout the season, is why were they weighing in Bo and wrestling him at 141 when he's obviously not going to beat out Nick Lee? And had they been getting him those exhibition matches at 49, if he gets 3-4 more wins, because he has all these 41 wins that mean nothing.
4-0 at 141.
4-0 at 141. So if he was 3-1 at 149, and then he had a 7-4 or an 8-3 record, he would probably get really high consideration for a wild card. But instead, he's going to be on the outside looking in because he was wrestling these 41 matches for Penn State. Now, maybe they hadn't even considered him a starter at 49 up until I don't know if something happened, but it just seemed like weird decision making at that point, and it probably is what's going to ultimately cost him a spot. And a weird year, whereas if he had been in the lineup all year or been able to at least wrestle in opens all year, he'd probably be a no-brainer qualifier. But everyone knew the deal coming into this season that it's going to be tough to get guys in the tournament, especially if they're only starting a few matches. So they weren't able to thread the needle there. He's clearly, I think we can at least say he's one of the 33 best guys in the country. I mean, he was right there with Yaya. He's competitive, but he doesn't have anything that really separates him that's going to get him into the tournament, I don't feel.
Yeah, no, I agree with that totally. And Penn State started how many different guys at 49? And if it was like a normal year where guys could redshirt, I would say, well, I see what they're doing. They were trying to save Bo Bartlett's redshirt by starting, right? They started the Bear Claw, they started Brookclear, and they started some other dude. And then they decided those guys weren't good enough, so they pulled out Bartlett. But, the deal was there was no eligibility issues this year. Everyone's free. So I don't really see why, unless there was a real thought that they were going to move Nick Lee up to 149, I don't see why they were weighing him in at 41 and not letting him bump up the whole time.
Yeah, so that's a little confusing. But yeah, so where else do we want to go with 25? I think we got to talk about Spencer Gable.
Well, we're not going to finish the 49 talk because so Murin lost to Lovett and then turned around and lost to Van Brill. I knew Lovett was going to be tough. I didn't see Van Brill coming like this. He wrestles all the way back to third place in his bracket. I don't think you guys saw it coming either. I mean, he's out of the 18. He lost first round to Peyton O'Mania and comes back and wins like 5 in a row.
Yeah, he was the talk of the watch party for us. I mean, he was electric. I mean, he's really good in a few strange positions. He's really good with that near leg in. He's a good scrambler. He's tough on top. And yeah, we didn't see it coming at all. And then he lost in round 1 to Peyton O'Mania, who's like, fringe guy. He got decapitated. Peyton O'Mania does that. He likes to decapitate
vicious
people.
Headlocker.
He's vicious. But yeah, I mean, Ultimate Road Warrior, his way back to third place, and he's certainly an All-American contender headed in there. I don't see him climbing the rungs and pushing for a top 3 spot, but he's certainly a dangerous guy come St. Louis.
Yeah.
And a little bit of good vibes for Rutgers. I mean, if you're a Rutgers fan, man, it's been a tough month. I mean, you're just wondering, hoping, please, Nicky Soriano, come wrestle for this team. And then he doesn't. And he goes to Mateo Pelicone instead. And it's like, okay, well, at least we have Sammy Alvarez. He's out.
Nope.
Doesn't wrestle. The rumor mill is swirling about what happened there.
I thought I heard that he didn't make weight.
Well, he didn't step on the scale, so it's. Okay. But that is the prevailing rumors that Sammy Alvarez got really big.
That was the rumor I heard.
Yes, and which is like, how does that happen? I mean, guy made 33 most of the year. They were off from January 31st to Big Ten.
That's a killer, but you.
Yeah, that's a long way.
Can't do
that's
that,
a big break,
man.
Yeah, but it's Division I wrestling. You got to maintain your weight. So if that's what happened, which we believe that's what happened, so that's devastating for Rutgers. You lose Alvarez, Rivera. He's obviously a title contender, and then
you only got to watch 3 matches though.
Yeah, you hardly got to see
heading into
him.
the Big Ten tournament.
Yep. And then, but Van Brill definitely a bright spot for them. Poznansky
was awesome. They went 3-0 in third place matches.
That's pretty good. So it's still kind of a what could have been for Rutgers. If you roll out Soriano, Alvarez, Rivera, Van Brill as your first 4, and then you've got Poznansky and Janzer in the mix there. It's salty.
The Turley guy, I know the Turley guy didn't place, but he's not bad.
He's bad.
Solid.
I think he'll get a wild card too. He pushed Labriola. I don't know if you saw that match. It was wild, like 13-9, something like that.
Yes, indeed.
They beat up on Drew Hughes first round, and Hughes, I know he's been good before. I know he's not super consistent, but Turley really beat up on him.
Yep.
Truth. So
facts.
Can you? All right, Ben. Where do you want to go? Are you ready to move off 149?
Well, I'm sorry. You're the one. You go to these. You say 149, and then now like you only.
We shouldn't have done this. We should have started at 25 in the Big Ten and just run
all
down
the way through.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry.
25. I'll tell you what about 25, Christian. I want to say I didn't do the math on it. It felt like there was more underdogs that won than favorites that won. I think that's definitely possible.
At 25?
25, 100%.
It might be. I'd have to go back look through in the bracket, but it felt like it was kind of the shit being righted. You know, Rayvon Foley and Schroeder started the year. Yeah, they were 2-4 in the rankings to start the year, and they finished second and third and avenged some losses from earlier in the season.
Yeah, this is interesting. 9-seed Ragusan beats 8-seed D'Agostino. 13-seed Shawver beats 4-seed McKee. Then Barnett beat Howard. Heinzelman.
The second round, though, Schroeder's a 7 and he wins. Foley's the 5, he wins. And then on the backside was a disaster because you got D'Agostino beating Cronin, McKee. Yeah, McKee beat up on Barnett when it was opposite the last time. Ragusan beat Cardani. Howard beat Ragusan. Yeah,
but you know what? We kind of said maybe not all year, but definitely coming to this, all these dudes are like the same. They're Spencer, and then all these dudes are sort of interchangeable, which kind of played out that way, except for something we were kind of all talking about, like the return of Devin Schroeder. And I think I picked Heinzelman to win, but some of you guys picked Schroeder to make the finals, and he's all the way back. He even took down Spencer, the audacity, but he did it.
Spencer went out of the first period twice.
Yes, it's clearly the beginning of the end. Although he did pin Rayvon Foley in a tilt in 24 seconds.
Max said Max was really mad when that happened because like he tells his kids that you can't get pinned in a tilt, and now that Rayvon Foley, who's getting pinned in a tilt, is a top 10 guy, it's like, well, but that guy got pinned in a tilt, so they all have an excuse now if they get pinned in a tilt.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll all be rushing to get pinned in tilts now. So
they can't wait.
Coach, you can't yell at me.
You ain't cool unless you get pinned in a tilt.
What's gonna make Max Askren matter? A guy hits a 5-point fireman's carry or gets pinned in a tilt? Which will make him
Spencer Lee only hits 5-point fireman's carries like just every single time. So that's probably that.
Yeah, I mean Spencer Lee just has to infuriate Max Askren because he's hitting firemen's like crazy.
Tricep grip. Can you guys imagine how tight that tricep grip must be? It's so insane. He just grabs them, and they just can't get their freaking arm out of there.
They can't move.
They are like literally stuck in a thing. No one can do that. It's not like he has like giant Johnny DeJulius banana hands. He's just squeezing the crap out of the hand or out of the tricep, and you can't get it back.
Yeah, I got really annoyed. One of the announcers, I don't recall who it was, said, who did they say? They said someone pound for pound was the strongest guy. And I just feel like, you guys freaking say that about everybody. And then so everyone else in the room was like, well, who's your pound for pound strongest guy? And I'm like, well, I wouldn't say definitively because number one, it's an insane statement to definitively say who you think is pound for pound the strongest. I think they said Deacon, which I disagree with strongly. If I had to pick one, if I had to guess, it would be Spencer. The way he does these things to these kids is so insane because nothing he's doing is like revolutionary. He's just so freaking strong and good at it that no one can stop it.
Yeah, it is Spencer. It has to be. I mean,
feels like it, right?
It looks completely different.
I mean, Deegan looks jacked, but the stuff he's hitting isn't like power stuff. Like,
no,
he's just better than these dudes.
He's clearly strong. Yeah. I mean, obviously, all these guys are strong, but like
all more strong.
Lee takes it to another level. He's got the freakazoid strength. But when no one is getting, I mean, he makes Big Tens look like Central Dolphin at the Diesel Duels. They're just getting wrists and rolling guys through, no problem. Or Team Diesel at the Disney Duels. It's like it's not that easy.
That was funny.
He's ridiculous, and yeah, he's got to be pound for pound.
Christian, watching these guys try to keep their wrist away from Spencer Lee when he just goes, it's there. Like it's hilarious. No one can do it.
Yeah. And, I mean, for him to get a tech fall, no problem, after giving up the opening takedown, it's just too something like that. But the talk of 125 is not about Spencer's dominance. That is just like assumed. Everyone is breaking out their lip reading technology about what Spencer said jogging off the mat.
So many people have asked about it in the chat since we started this
Everyone
show.
is freaking out that
Everybody
Spencer
needs to
Lee
know.
hurt his knee. I had people texting me, sending me videos. They're like, he said something about his knee. He said he blew out his knee. He said this and that, like reading his lips coming off the mat. And he does look concerned. He does have a strange gait about him after it. But I don't think there's anything to be.
Knee brace on to start with, right?
Yeah, he's had that kind of always.
But I thought, no, don't you guys remember? There was the one year when he took the brace off and everyone was talking because he was not wrestling with the brace finally.
Yeah.
I think
that
he
is
did
true.
for a good bit last year. I think he was braceless for a good bit last year.
So
Well, I must have missed his lip reading piece. I mean, we had a bunch of dudes watching it, so maybe that's why or something.
yeah, and I didn't exactly notice it. I did not notice it watching it in real time. And then everyone's sending me stuff. It's all over Twitter. It's all over everywhere. People are texting me, is Spencer okay? As if I would know.
Well, he's hurt. He's just going to wrestle anyways, right? Because you got to NCAAs and trials. What else are you going to do? You might as well just wrestle.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be fine. I mean, that's what I say. I don't know what they're saying it's the knee. That's the rumor mill, but nothing coming from Iowa or anything like that. It's just people watching TV and like freaking out.
Yeah.
It could have been like we
So
CP and I
why
were
did he have
talking.
the brace on to start with, though?
He wears it all the time.
Yeah, he's been
Yeah.
wearing it a lot recently. Well,
I
since
feel
he
like
put
he's
it back
worn it
on.
most matches this year. I don't know. Maybe it's just how he feels that day or week leading up in training or whatever. But it could be one of those things where maybe he felt something during the match and just in that moment he was in a little bit of pain, or I don't know. It's just you're fresh off of wrestling and I don't know. You might feel something at the time that's really not that big of a deal when you get home.
Yeah, that's my thought. Just like, heat of the moment, you're a little freaked out or whatever. But I think he's probably fine. And if he's not fine, it probably still won't matter.
Yeah. I mean,
We
who's
saw
stopping
Jason
him?
Nolf win a national title on one leg pretty dominantly.
Yeah.
On one leg, does Spencer bonus his way through NCAAs?
Yes.
If the only way if somehow he can't get on top, but even if he probably can't in the first period, he's going to choose it in the second or third, and then he's going to start rolling dudes.
It's just almost, it's undeniable that he's going to get on top in a match, right? And it's just, there's basically there's no Sebastian Rivera's in this weight either. So I don't see any scenario. I think he's going to be fine. I think the Olympic trials are coming up in a couple weeks. That's what would concern me, because he'll need all of his mobility for that. This field, he can just suck it up and tech pin his way through. But trials will be a different beast.
Yeah.
But here's hoping he's 100% all the way through. So that's 25. I don't guess there's much else to discuss there other than Schroeder's back, and he looks like a potential finalist. One of the many guys on the short list. It'll depend on how they seed it, but he's certainly going to be a guy in the mix there.
Yeah, I feel like, we've already said this, but Latona and Camacho, which Latona should likely be a 2 seed. I think both of them beat Devin Schroeder. That's my feeling. And the Teskey-Lamont match was pretty good, too.
Yes.
I mean, Teskey's probably going to place. I can't see him beating anyone that he would need to make the finals, being probably Latona or Camacho or some combination there.
Yeah, I agree with that. Teskey still continues to be so impressive this year. Just the one loss to Courtney.
Yep.
You want to talk about the seeds here potentially?
Yeah, Nomad has it. Lee, Hildebrandt, Latona, Courtney, Teskey, Camacho, Lamont, Foley, Schroeder, Heinzelman, DiAgostino.
So a Courtney
There's a lot of landmines there because there's a lot of good guys that are going to be ranked relatively low.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Heinzelman of the 10, and Lamont getting Hildebrandt early is interesting. A potential Camacho Latona quarter, Courtney Teskey quarter. If these are the seeds they end up going with.
maybe someone like Liam Cronin down at, you guys have him ranked at 14, and I got to assume he's going to be seated low, or McKee at 15. Like, those guys could, if you told me one of those guys beat Brandon Courtney, I'm not really shocked.
Same here.
Yeah.
25 is, and Hildebrand at the 2, that's a guy who he has a pretty specific style. He needs to get on top. He's probably more of a counter guy than a guy that's going to go out and get a ton of takedowns on his feet. And we haven't seen him against the best guys, and that's true for like so many of these wrestlers, right? We've seen Latona and Camacho wrestle each other. We haven't seen them against the Big Ten guys, and we haven't seen them against a Hildebrand.
Yeah, Hildebrand's best win is either Connor Brown or Noah Certain. He beat Certain 6-1. He won it in sudden victory against Connor Brown.
Yeah. So it's there's a room for and that's the thing. It's like, okay, if a 2 seed gets 6, people will be like, yeah, you underperformed, but probably not really. You just don't know in this year where all these guys stack up.
Yeah.
Okay, 33, we talked about a little bit. Is there anything else on 25, Ben?
Who's getting the wild cards? There's a bunch of good dudes who didn't take top 8 at the Big Ten.
Yeah. Hang on one second here.
Wild card
bracket. Just in the 9th place bracket, you had Cronin, Cardani, and Barnett, those guys are good.
This is interesting. I'd like to talk about this for a second. I know we got a lot of other ways to get to, so I'll try to make it quick. I put out my wild card predictions yesterday, and I think Cronin and Barnett are in. They're getting in. And then Cardani might be the most interesting one. And Ben, remember before the season, you wanted me to find the guy who could have the worst record, only wrestling Big Ten schedule. And I said Justin Cardani.
Wow.
And so he's 3-9 because there's the 9th place matches aren't in rest of that, but he's 3-9, and he has wins over. He beat Barnett, he beat Brock Hudkins, and then he beat somebody in the 9th place bracket. I'm forgetting who. And then his losses though: Malik Heinzman, Devin Schroeder, Spencer Lee, Pat McKee, Michael DiAgostino, Liam Cronin, Devin Schroeder, Dylan Ragusin.
That's so crazy.
You're going to sit there and tell me this guy is not one of the 33 best guys in the country. And I heard yesterday that some coaches who rank 25 are considering or did leave him off their 125 ballot. And I think that is total BS. You come wrestle in this 125-pound weight class in the Big Ten, and you show me what your record will be.
Yeah.
So the lowest guy he lost to was what? McKee at 15?
Yeah, and who's been a top 10 guy this year.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's lost 8 losses, all to guys in the top 15.
And he's got better wins than
and his
all
win
those
over
guys.
Eric Barnett is better than any win that anyone else looking for a wild card has.
Yeah. Damn.
Oh, I know. Speaking of wild cards, we got to talk about this real chance at wild cards. Because Real Woods and Chance Rich,
yes,
we got a little quid pro quo.
Wordplay there. CP's not the one to scrabble with.
I told you
the
they could do
wordplay.
these fake matches. I told you. You called me. You said it wasn't true. They couldn't do it.
So we got a quid pro quo situation where Cal State Bakersfield gives Real Woods a sacrificial lamb in exchange for Stanford giving Chance Rich a sacrificial lamb, and they wrestled this. This happened.
Yes.
Ben, stop coaching youth states.
So Chance Rich, he was 3-2. I had him getting a wild card anyways, but they wanted to give him a better shot, so he wrestled 2 matches against Suhas Chundi from Stanford, and he tech fought him 15-0 and 18-0. So that got him to 5-2, which is now above 70% win percentage, which is one of the things they look at. And Real Woods didn't have the 4 matches that he needed, so he wrestled 2 matches against Jose Landon, and he pinned him in 214 and then tech fought him 16-0.
Dude, this might be worse than the Last Chance Open.
It's bad. So
is it worse than the Last Chance Open or not, Christian? Close.
I think it's worse.
Yeah.
Here's why. Because you have teams getting on the phone with each other saying, hook it up.
Also, Last
Give me
Chance
this
Open
dude
during the season, not after a conference tournament.
Yes. Yeah. You're getting on the phone. You're saying, hey, hook it up. Give Real Wood someone to thump on. We'll give you someone for Chance Rich to thump on. Real chance at NCAAs. That's what they're doing. I don't like it. Listen, on the one hand, there's a couple things going on here. On the one hand, if you give these coaches an inch, they will take it a mile, right? So if this is legal, then how mad can you really be? Because it is legal for them to get on and say, hey, give us a match. We'll give you a match. We'll do it twice or whatever. So the NCAA has allowed a loophole that these coaches are driving a Mack truck through. Okay, so I don't like that.
Did you say a Mack truck or a Mack truck?
I said Mack truck, but it could
Mack
be
truck works as well.
Mack truck. They drove the Mack truck to Cal State Bakersfield, and they said, let's do a couple fake matches so our guys get into NCAAs.
Maybe it was our Mack truck driver, our buddy in Cincinnati, was it?
Oh, my gosh. No, he would not have delivered the match.
Yeah, he would lost.
That was a rough situation.
He's still trying to park that truck. So I don't like, on the real wood side, I don't like it because, like, man, you could have been wrestling this season. You weren't and decided not to. And then you decide you wanted to come out. So I don't like it on that end. Spirit of the sport, I don't like it. I don't think it's good. But how mad can you get at Stanford and how mad can you get at Cal State Bakersfield? They're trying to get their guys in the tournament.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, with Real Woods, I'm glad he's going to get in because he finished within the auto-qualifying threshold, which to me, you should get in if you do that. If your conference earns 2 spots and you make the finals, you should get in. But he didn't get in because he didn't have 4 matches. So on the other hand, I'm just like going back and forth like, well, that was a cheesy rule. So the NCAA has so many cheesy rules that I'm having a hard time getting mad. But I just think it's kind of a joke when you can just get on the phone, say, give me some guys to beat on, and then we can get into the tournament. Like that is not.
Wouldn't it be legal for them to wrestle their own guys?
I don't think that counts. You got to wrestle someone else.
How do you feel being that sacrificial lamb going at like getting that conversation?
That's what Spay and I were talking. It's like, how do you decide who you're going to throw to him? You're like, hey, sit down. Buddy. Hey, Jose, sit down here for a second. We need you. You're going to go up to Palo Alto on Saturday, and Real Woods is just going to beat you pretty badly 2 straight matches. Okay?
Now, see, that conversation is awkward enough. Now, what about the coaching in between the 2 matches? Like, is he getting like points like, hey, you got to stay away from this here, you got to attack the ankle, or is it just like, hey, man, do what you got to do to stay healthy?
Listen, just protect yourself at all.
What kind of coaching were they giving Suhas after the 15-0 loss to Chance Rich?
All right, let's see if we can.
And then what happened the next one? Did he get teched again or pinned?
18-0. Yeah.
18-0.
Oh, so he got teched worse.
Yes, it's a worse tech.
He didn't make the right adjustments. Made some wrong ones.
He made the wrong adjustments.
Yeah, I don't get the 4-match rule either in this season of all. Like this crazy season where you had Rutgers off for a whole month, and Alex Marinelli wrestled 2 matches going into Big Tens. Like, why was this 4-match minimum a thing when it's not in normal years?
And also, shout out EIWA. This didn't happen, but they were ready to have the extra matches at conferences if anyone needed them that finished within the allocations, but it ended up working out that they didn't. And also, the 4-match thing is punitive for these smaller conferences, right? Like, EIWA's has a little bigger conference, but Pac-12's, like, how many matches did Real get to? I guess he had 2, so he could have been 3-0, but he's 2-1.
Yeah, he could have been 3-0, but it wouldn't matter because he would have won his conference. Conference champs get in.
Yes. So I don't know. I think it's cheesy that they're doing that. I get why they're doing it. I'm not mad at the coaches, but I think it's just outside the spirit of what NCAA wrestling should be.
No, it totally is.
Yeah. So could a
Big Ten school have done one yesterday, Christian? If they needed to, like Bartlett?
Yeah, that was what like kind of crappy about it is the Big Ten and Big 12. They wanted, if they needed guys or had to do something like this, they would have had to do it on Monday, I guess.
That'd be fun.
So they could have.
Big Tens.
I guess they could have.
Yeah, what's stopping them?
Well, they should have just had a party and just said, "Hey, everyone bring a couple backups, and then stick around on Monday, and whoever we need to get a few more wins. Justin Cardani, we'll get you like 4 wins against backups. Boom.
Yeah.
Much better.
Seriously, why not? Okay, so where'd we stop? 33. We talked a little bit about it with Lucas Bird. Austin DeSanto pulled on his hands the entire Lucas Bird match. I don't know if he clearly has some sort of a hand injury.
And then they were all taped up for the final.
Yeah, so something with his hands or fingers or whatever. But he got it done against Lucas in a really tough match. But RBY is seemingly just figured out how to beat Austin, because he went from getting destroyed by him 2 years ago to now. Is Austin ever going to take him down again? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so. Hey, were you impressed with Chris Cannon at all, or did you think he was that good? Because I know RBY beat him, but man, I thought he did quite a few good things that I was impressed with, and I could see him sneaking into the bottom of the AA category at NCAAs.
100%. We were talking about him throughout the watch party, especially me, big Chris Cannon guy. I think he looks great, and I do think he's right there to place. Fringe, 7th, 8th, maybe 6th. Bird beat him pretty soundly, which is impressive to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cannon's really good for sure, and I'm excited to watch him.
Nice.
He could definitely place. That was pretty much it. Those are kind of the main guys. 41 we've talked about at length.
Yeah.
We talked about the seeding. We talked about the Ironman Lee Rivera dynamic. I feel like any one of those guys can win, and I'm not really entertaining anyone outside of that top 3 winning. I think the champ will come from that group. And I don't feel if there's a situation we're drawing out of a hat and you get those 3 names in there, I'm not more excited or disappointed if I get any of those names out of the hat. If I get Nick Lee, I'm like, listen, he beat Sebastian Rivera. He won the takedown battle against Jaden Ironman. I feel great. If I get Sebastian Rivera, I'm like, I know what this guy can do. He was right there. He had a penalty point and a quick escape takedown scenario against Nick Lee that really changed that match, right? So he was right there to win it, and that was an overtime bout, I believe. If I get Jaden Ironman, well, that's the guy who just won the tournament. So I feel equally about all 3 of those guys. Maybe that's wrong, but I really view them so similarly.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. I think like if you had them each wrestle 10 times, you're gonna get a whole bunch of different results.
And they're all going to be exciting results too. All those matches are fire. Hey,
absolutely.
What if this takedown that Ironman got on Nick Lee was insane? So Nick Lee shoots the high crotch, and Ironman just kind of like scoots around standing and ends up on top with a leg in. Did you see this? But he kind of like kicks the foot out, almost like a mountain.
I watched the match, but I don't know why I'm like not remembering this sequence. I was at my house, so maybe I was distracted by my kids for a second.
Oh man,
It was really slick.
come on, Ozzy. Well, dang, Ben. It was really
I
good.
can pull it up real quick. No, and there was the one. Was it the finals where Ironman was going the one way, and then he switched to go the other way and got a takedown right in the period? That was super. I think that might have been against Chad Red.
Yes, I think so. So all right, well, check that out. If you didn't see it, watch it, and maybe we can talk about it tomorrow.
And right now.
It was after, so Nick Lee gets the first takedown, so it's after that.
Yes.
Then he shoots a really nice high crotch. Okay. We'll go to 49. What was happening? Boo Llewellyn wins Big 12s. It was a close match. Moore put him on his back, but Boo rides out, I think, for the win.
Yeah, rode the entire third period, which someone, I think, asked a question from Fran, why did Mitch Moore go underneath when he had riding time? He had riding time at that point.
Like 105 or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, fair question. I think honestly, maybe just underestimated Boo on top. What's up, Ben?
No, I don't understand. That happened multiple times this weekend where I feel like these guys are auto bottom choosers, and I'm trying to remember the other match that really made me mad. I'm blanking on what it was now, but I'm like, this is so freaking stupid. Why did that guy just choose bottom? And it just doesn't make sense. I don't understand for the life of me. These guys understand that they suck at bottom. Why do they choose bottom? It blows my mind.
I don't know. We talked about it a good bit over the weekend, but I can't remember the specific matches other than that one where someone took bottom and it seemed sort of questionable.
There was another one where, I was just shaking my head at it. I'm blanking which one it was right now.
Well, I'm pretty sure Mitch Moore at least like reversed Boo Allen to his back.
Well, Boo was trying a roll through tilt, and he gave up 2 back points and then stepped over and got 2 back points.
Yeah, I guess he did get turned in that scenario.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not too mad. I don't think that's an audacious bottom choice in that scenario.
But there are some. You will agree.
Oh, my gosh, yes. Auto bottom is it doesn't make sense to me. And the whole – yeah. I don't know, the hardo, you got to get away thing is like, well, no, you don't actually have to get away.
You don't just bottom.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, over the course of time, you want to get better at bottom, but the Big Tens is not the time to figure something out.
No.
Right? The common tournament, the NCAA is like, figure it out in April. You have like 9 months to get better.
Right. 49, we talked about at length. Sasso got it done. Murin will get a wild card for sure. 57, make Ryan Deacon just on another level from the other Big Ten 157s. David Carr on another level from the Big 12 157s. And Hayden Hiley on his own level. So can't wait to see those three guys tangle at NCAAs. I'm curious how the seeds are going to play out. Will it be as simple as Deacon 1, Hiley 2, Carr 3, or could it get a little could that one get a little dicey?
There's no one else you could throw in there, is there?
Has Della Vecchia lost?
Probably not. But Carr, Hidley, and Deacon have not lost, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They got to go 1, 2, 3.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Any other thoughts on 57?
No, I agree with you that I don't want to say it's the next topic, but those guys are, everyone else in the field is pretty far behind the guys you stated.
Yes. 65, I mean, a couple of things for me. One, before we get to Bull, Cam Amin looked great. He wrestled awesome. Yeah. He was right there in the Bull match. He lost 2-0, and then he wrestles back for third. He beat Peyton Robb. He beat a tough Tucker in overtime, actually. I didn't realize that was an overtime match. But Cam Amin looks really, really good. But Marinelli is kind of the story for me, just how close his two matches were with Amin and Smith. Is perception-wise, he was a massive favorite in this. I don't think anyone thought he'd have two terribly close matches, but he really did. Now, and on the other hand, while the matches were numerically close, I was never like, Ethan Smith's got him on the ropes, right? It just felt very much in Marinelli's control throughout the match. So I'm not trying to make it sound like it was closer than it was.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where you have Marinelli here, and you think of Amin and Ethan Smith as down here. So when they wrestle like they're here, it's kind of surprising to you. And so I would say, especially in the semi, the fact that Alex Marinelli could not get a takedown against Cam Amin, I would not have predicted that. That was surprising to me. And then, he gets one against Ethan Smith. I do think the fact that both of those guys were so close to him was kind of surprising to me. That being said, Shane Griffith took a loss at Pac-12. Mackay is hurt. I don't know who's going to challenge him. Anthony Valencia and who? Keegan?
Well, it's maybe Keegan. I mean, I think he is going to get. He's going to be challenged. He'll be the favorite. He should be the 1 seed. But I mean, he's going to have close matches. Now, 65 is not like it was 2 years ago when you hit Mackay in the freaking quarters.
Yes.
I mean that bracket had Chinzo, Bull, Mackay, Chance, Wick, Massa, I think.
Although we don't know how the heck they're going to seed Mackay.
Yeah, that's a good point. What if it's a Mackay?
Where are they going to seed everybody at?
I don't know.
His wins aren't great this year. I mean, he beat Kennedy, he beat Keating. He has Wenzel. He did not beat Wenzel. And he did not wrestle at ACCs. He could get a totally jacked up seed.
Yes, I could.
What if he's near Marinelli?
I could see it. I could see him a 5 or an 8.
Remember when Marinelli had to wrestle Joe Smith in the first round? Never lost their mind on that.
Yes.
Oh,
and Joe Smith got like the first 2 takedowns before just completely gassing.
Completely. So tired. To be fair, wrestling is really exhausting.
It's hard.
It is tough.
You do it for 7 minutes, dude.
Ben was afraid to. That's why he would always pin guys. He didn't trust his 7-minute gas tank.
I mean, hey, Mackay only has 2 losses, and technically both of them are by injury. He'll probably get a pretty high seed, right?
Well, maybe.
The hard part is if he's actually injured, he shouldn't get a high seed.
Yeah, we have no idea how healthy he is.
Man, Zach Hartman's undefeated down at number 7.
He should be seated ahead of him. Wenzel should be seated ahead of him.
The only person you really he's got to be ahead of Keating. He beat Keating. But also, they don't really look at that unless it's
only if
the
they're like
point value.
so close.
Right. So they're not doing this normal seating meeting.
Did Nomad predict that one?
He did not put that one on Twitter.
Ooh. Okay. So we'll see on 65. 65 is interesting. I mean, I think that didn't look like the best version of the bull, although he mentioned that in the interview. Like,
he hadn't wrestled since January 22nd as well.
And that was another thing with Iowa. They had like basically a 2-week no practice or something, like that's a huge factor. I think Penn State probably had to go through the same thing.
Similar.
Iowa's was later, as I recall.
Yes, they had not wrestled since February 7th, so a month.
So they took basically a month off, and within that month, they had at least like 10 days off the mat. You have to imagine. So they actually looked really, really good if you consider that much of a layoff in that tough of a tournament. To only have a guy like Murin, drop to two dangerous and really kind of wrestlers that
unique
wrestlers who present special challenges. So I think Iowa really wrestled pretty well, and Bull just get the job done and move on.
Yeah, looking at his match with Smith last year, it was 14-10. If I remember right.
I remember that now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Alex. It was a bunch of takedown releases, but Smith did get a takedown late. I remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
Smith looked good. I thought he had a nice tournament for himself. 74. Okay, let's talk about this because this is like the most loaded weight at Big Tens. Starocki by the skin of his teeth over Romero and then Labriola. How did the Labriola match end? What happened there? Was there something? Did Labriola do something weird?
Remember, he tried to kind of like jump over him.
He tried to jump over him. Do you remember this, Ben? That was strange.
That's not what I thought, but now I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. I can pull it up real fast here.
It wasn't like Anthony Valencia flying squirrel over top of him. It was kind of more like a go behind, try to like
hop over, but he ended up in just not good position. So that was interesting. I feel like Starocki's gonna be in all his matches, although Kimmer really separated himself.
It wasn't
super good. Yeah, it feels like Kimmer's just gonna, he's not gonna like bonus his way through the title, but he is clearly. We thought there was maybe the Labriola and Starocki, Massa, like they were all right there. I don't think they're right there. I think it's Kimmer.
Massa was kind of close. I mean, I guess he never really got close to a takedown, but it wasn't a blowout by any sense of imagination.
Well, I was a little surprised. Kimmer kind of got the early takedown, no problem, high crotch doubles off finish. And then he was kind of like, all right, I'm good. Massa can't score on me.
Hold on. This scramble, I forgot. Okay, I just came back up on it. That scramble at the end of regulation and Starocki, Labriola was so awesome. Oh, yeah. I actually thought they could have went takedown Labriola for a second there, and that's kind of one position I get annoyed in scrambles that the refs don't call fast enough is when the bottom guy has the leg through the middle. And the top guy is kind of all the way behind. I feel like majority of the time that should be called a takedown, and it's not. And it wasn't here. And then, there was like a couple seconds where I thought, okay, they could call takedown Labriola. And then Starocki improved his position to where he almost got the takedown. That was an awesome scramble. Yeah,
they're both really good scramblers. And maybe I'm overreacting to Big Tens and like Labriola. I'm not writing these guys off. But it's tougher to see. Like at 41, you can see how all those guys could beat each other. At 74, there's got to be a real dip in performance from Kimmer and a real uptick in performance from the other guys if they're going to knock him off.
Yeah. Do you guys not agree with me on this scramble? Did you guys think it was just no takedown for sure? Because like I have it froze right now.
Where are you watching that?
YouTube has the entire. So they have the 10 finals matches. All they have is the 10 finals matches, and they have the semifinals, every mat 2 match and every mat 1 match. But they have it kind of nicely chopped up. You can see like there's little spaces on YouTube where the matches take place. And so it's at 120.53. Like this is where for a couple seconds here, I thought for sure they could have called 2, and then Starocki improves his position. But I would not have been shocked if they had called 2 prior to that.
Okay. So I'll try to pull that up. Maybe we can.
Yeah, I don't think, guys. I don't think. I mean, someone has to obviously get a takedown on Michael Kemmerer, but I guess I don't feel quite as strongly as you do about. If the seeds fall right, he could have a tough match in the quarters, the semis, and the finals. Do I think he's going to lose? No. Is there a chance? Yeah, for sure.
Yes. But like right now, okay, this is an interesting one. Who has a better chance at winning NCAAs in your mind, Kimmer or Marinelli?
Oh, I would say. I actually think Kemmerer is better, but I think his competition is tougher, so I'll say Marinelli.
Yeah, I kind of think Kimmer is just wrestling at such a high level. It just gives me more confidence that he's just going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was 74.
You guys bumped Jackson Hamauer all the way up to the freaking 12.
You called it with him, too.
Nice work, guys.
You nailed it. That was another call you made.
I'm going to clip that. Ben just told us nice work on our rankings.
Nice work on the rankings.
Oh.
And your guy, Parker, let's talk about 84. Parker Kekai is an undefeated.
He looks great, too. He's number 5 seed. Well, actually, is he going to be more than the 5 seed? Because
he could be.
He certainly should be.
He could be, absolutely. Yeah. He's undefeated.
I mean, I still agree with your rankings on tiers perspective. Yeah, Hidley, Bowen, Duprez, and Brooks, but
I think
2 of those guys have a loss.
Yeah, it just depends on like how bad does the Matrix punish those guys for losing to either the number 2 or number 3 guy in the country. I think Brooks will be the 1 seed. And then behind that, I don't know. Do you reward the undefeated guy? Do you reward Trent for beating the then number 1 guy? Or I don't know how they're gonna do it. I could see it 3 or 4 different ways.
If they made them 4-5 because there was 3 undefeateds, that would not be. I would feel bad for them because they already wrestled twice. They have to wrestle each other again. It would be ridiculous.
See, with the Labriola thing, he never. It's so funny not funny, but when he rolls him through. But it is kind of close to a takedown.
Yeah,
I don't.
For about 2 seconds there, he's really covering.
Yeah, but I never felt like with the leg that he was all the way behind. I felt like he was too out to the side with it.
That's a freestyle rule, though, which would apply to the Jordan Burroughs thing.
Right, which we haven't even got to. Oh my gosh.
Well, we see that about Gable.
Okay, let's see. This is why I didn't want to go. This is why I didn't want to go weight by weight because like you end up it's like all right, we're talking a lot about like things that we gotta get to the heat, right? Freaking Gable Stevenson should be strongly considered for the Hodge Trophy.
He should be number 1 going into the NCAA tournament.
Are you guys on Ben Island now, where he's 100% favorite to win? Because
yes.
Crap on Mason Paris.
We said he could move up to number 1 if he just went out and like dominated Paris and Cassiope, and then he majored Cassiope, and he just majored Paris.
Yes.
He is the next topic.
I loved. I saw a Twitter mention that said. Heavyweight in archipelago, so many islands.
That was Yaya Thomas's dad.
That was funny.
But it's true. It's like no one's beaten Gable, and then no one below him is beaten Mason, in my opinion.
No.
And then I don't think anyone's beaten Cassiope.
Right.
So there's three islands. It is a true archipelago. And then you've got the Stencils and those types of guys. So, but. It is just such an impressive. I mean, how he embarrassed.
He embarrassed him.
He really did. He taunted him throughout. I mean, it was insane.
What was the deal with Christian Lance not wanting to wrestle him?
Oh, don't get KB going.
Boy.
Don't get him going.
It's okay.
They didn't say anything about it on TV. So
he just didn't want to, Ben. He didn't want to. That's what it comes down to.
In the national finals, Kyle. It happened to me one time because they knew I was going to go. I was doing my takedown record, so they knew I was going to get 14 takedowns. Dude, we didn't want to get tired. He wanted to make it the state, so he forfeited to me. I beat the other guy up in the finals and got 14 takedowns, and the guy who forfeited beat the other guy in the WrestlePacks.
The number 11 ranked heavyweight in the country said, you know what? I'm good. I'm not going to wrestle this match.
He did. He just didn't. He wrestled.
And then he came back. He said, I'm good to wrestle this next day. I can wrestle these guys.
He just did not want to wrestle. It was a duck.
You fired up, pal. Come on, let's go.
I got fired up on the watch party.
The watch party, he went off.
Yeah. I don't know. It's wrong. It's BS. It's embarrassing. I don't know. Like, what are we doing?
I mean, it's Big Ten. I mean, it's one thing if it's high school and Ben Askren just wants to party on your first year wrestler, because somehow he entered the JV and varsity tournament here. I don't know how that happened, but that's one thing.
This is the Big Ten semifinals. You walked out there. You said, "Hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to shake his hand. We're going to start the match. We're going to stop it. I don't want to wrestle him." You did that.
That happened.
It was on Big Ten Network. It was on TV. People watched it
live on the internet worldwide. Yeah, so that was that
would be very hard for your ego to take. I mean, feels like much more honorable to take the ass whooping and get over with it.
Why even walk out there to do it?
Because you have to. He has to. If he forfeits, then he's out of the tournament. You injury default, you can wrestle back, which is what he did.
And he was already qualified. They took 8 at heavyweight. So why not just if you don't want to wrestle that match, just pull yourself out of the tournament?
Then at least
why not just go try to throw him and end up on your back and then get pinned?
Yeah, I mean,
you guys want to hear? Oh my gosh, that reminds me of something else. Now you guys talking about my high school career. While I was doing the takedown record, this one dude, I took him down. I don't recall if it was like a knee pick or something, but when I took him down to his back, he body locked me. And I was trying to let him off his back, but he stayed on his back. And then I kind of pushed away for a second. But then I just okay, whatever. I'm going to pin him. And I pinned him. That's what Christian Lance could have done.
Yes.
I don't understand why more people aren't upset about this. This is like, this would be like, to put it in another sport perspective, like in college basketball, there's only the conference champions auto qualify for the NCAA tournament, but there's teams that are clearly in the field going into the conference championship, and that'd be like these 2 top 5 teams like West Virginia and Baylor. If they were to hit in the semifinals of the Big 12 tournament, they're both in the tournament, and one of them just like, we don't want to play this game. So we're just going to, you go ahead, you advance, you go ahead, you play another game. We'll get ready for nationals.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea, honestly. Hey, so let me ask you this.
No, it's trash. It's trash. It's terrible.
That's not where he was going, Ben.
I'm going to talk about Mason Paris.
Okay.
Which is right on cue. Okay. So Spencer Lee talked about being the strongest pound for pound. But Mason Paris's fireman's grip or what do you call it? Near on far leg is almost more impressive to me because you think like when you lift your weights, you grab that like little bar. And have you ever tried to do pull-ups on like a big old pull-up bar?
Yeah.
Like that's what Mason Paris is doing. He's grabbing that big old Anthony Cassiope tricep and he's gripping it. And that's way more impressive than grabbing one of those little noodle arms at 125.
Yeah, it is impressive. It's Mason or Spencer both have the freak strength component. I'm pretty sure Mason was like beating Michigan football lifting records as a true freshman. Like he's
so crazy.
He's unbelievable. And to see, go ahead.
Yeah, it's not even like he just like smoothly takes him over. Or it's like he goes there and then he just goes and just like takes him over.
Yeah, and then to hold him on, it's not just take him over, holding him there. Yeah. And guys can't get off their backs. And I know we always say heavyweights can't when they're on their back, but a lot of them do. And especially, it's not like he's taking them over with a half. It's like a carry, so it's not like the most secure pinning position. But he's now pinned Cassiope twice. Cassiope has been really good all year long.
Yes.
So it's he's unreal, but Gable is just another level. I mean, he's getting better. Definitely quiets the Gable was ducking Mason at RTC Cup chatter. Gable clearly went there to beat Quiz. He did that. And it's Gable. I think Gable's going to make the Olympic team too still. He looks...
I think he kind of mentioned earlier, but Kirk Fleet was I was way too high. I was wrong on that one. I think we all kind of felt
Same
that
here.
way.
Oh, yeah. That's a team loss there.
He got beat up by Paris and Cassiope, and I do believe we picked Paris to win. Maybe I could be wrong. We should rewind the tape. I don't want to misquote ourselves. But I would not have picked Cassiope to beat him, and Cassiope beat him up.
Yes, he beat him soundly. I mean, the bottom wrestling. It's so one thing. It's like, okay, this guy has not had a full season of training. That has to be mentioned, right? He's injured throughout a couple weeks of training. So I really want to see him train for a full year at Penn State and what he can do.
Yeah.
But there are still some areas where it's been. This is kind of like this is why the rankings play out the way they do, and why just because you make U23 teams and just beat up Yusuf Hamida, you don't get top 5 in the rankings because folk style is different. And he couldn't get off the bottom. He couldn't get off the bottom immediately. It wasn't exhaustion.
No,
he can't build his base and get away from the elite riders. So that's an area he's going to have to improve, right? Because Cassiope's not going anywhere. Mason Paris isn't going anywhere. Gable Stevenson, he may be gone, but he's got to get off the bottom. But I still think in a year he's going to be a different guy.
Yeah, definitely possible.
And I don't know if we were talking about it before the show or what, but he's going to struggle with not just those top 2 guys in the Big Ten or top 3 guys in the Big Ten, but like Stencil. I could see giving him a lot of problems. He's really tough on top.
Yes.
I need to look at the rest of the rankings.
How about G. Graham? How good is he on top?
Not very. He should be fine.
But you don't have to, from what I saw, you don't have to be.
You got to stop that first move.
Spencer Lee. Yeah, if you're big, which G. Grimm is, and just know how to put a tough ride and frustrate guys, you can do that.
Because he was not able to build his base, which is like a different sort of thing. Like who's someone like? Sometimes Zach Sanders would have a hard time getting away, but he was a dude. He was like up and rolling around and Granby, and it's just like he just couldn't quite solve the last piece of the puzzle in some big matches. But like Kirkley's just like boom, flat. So, but at the same time, look at what Penn State's done with heavy. I mean, look what they did with Kassar. Give him a little bit of time. There's a lot to work with Kirkfleet. So if you're writing him off now, you're playing yourself.
When we first talked about these seeds and Nomad seeds, I don't think we actually listed off the heavyweight ones, but this is what Nomad had to make.
This is what I was laughing at.
Yeah. 1 Gable, 2 Stencil, 3 Schultz, 4 Grimmel, 5 Paris, 6 Laird, 7 Cassiope, 8 Wood.
I mean, you got to throw away the seeding machine if that's what it spits out. You just got to throw it away.
You were just defending those Nomad seedings.
Well,
we're saying that they're going to be.
Paris only has 1 loss, correct?
Who's that?
Paris only has 1 loss.
Yeah,
correct.
Schultz and Stencil.
Schultz
and Stencil have 0 losses, right?
Grimmel might too. That's the only way I can see him being that high.
Is Paris not an All-American yet? Technically.
I mean, that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, they don't look at last year.
Grimmel only lost to Colton Schultz.
I don't see how Mason can be behind Grimmel.
Yeah, that's weird.
Either.
I don't know.
I mean, literally, he has all bonus.
Yeah, and he beat Cassiope.
He's 100% bonus.
It probably has to do, and I don't know if Nomad sometimes he puts how he figured it out. Yeah, he didn't put it out for heavyweight, but a lot of times it has to do with like quality wins, and I'm not sure how many Paris was able to get this year because we talked about Michigan's schedule was kind of weird. They had that 2-week pause, and then with the rotating, they didn't hit a ton of. So if you look at it, Orndorff, Nevels,
who's not in the field,
right, and then Kirkfleet, and then Cassiope. So not a ton of quality wins.
Find me a resume that's better than that though. That's not Gable Stevenson.
Schultz will be better than that.
But in terms of quality wins, I don't know.
Yeah, it will be.
Well, it's not as good. Listen, there's not a win as good as Cassiope.
No, I'm just saying, but he'll have more of them.
You're kind of saying that no matter what, Paris is at 4. Isn't that what you're saying?
Man.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying why it's going to be that way. It's likely because
of
quality
at 4,
wins.
That's 4 or 5. That's so dumb. It's just incredibly dumb.
Yeah.
So Schultz has beaten Heinzman, Grimmel, Isley, Traxler. That's less than I thought.
Okay.
Grimmel. Did I say Grimmel?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that doesn't do it for me personally. So we'll see how they end up seeding that. Man, it's 9:45. This stinks.
This sticks.
We're
good thing we have tomorrow.
We have tomorrow. We saw your questions. I have them. We'll ask them. They'll still be just as relevant tomorrow as they were today. Appreciate you guys listening. And yes, I kind of wish we had a Monday show too. Maybe next season, next year, we look into Mondays. I'm kind of for it.
Monday.
Hey, did you ever hear when at larges?
No, the person I asked said they don't know. But at larges are coming out today. Yes, probably this evening. And then bracket show live tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thanks, Ben, Ollie, and KB. We'll be back tomorrow. What?
My internet lasted.
Oh, yeah.
It was much better indoors. Yeah.
Who'd have
Look
thought
at that. Look at that.
It's all right. Thanks, Ben. See you, buddy.
Good luck streaming.
Bye.